In a remote military base, snow and silence, a man stood alone, not just a soldier, but a father. His name was Major Daniel Collins, a decorated war veteran, feared by enemies, respected by comrades. But today, he was just a father who missed his daughter's wedding. He remembered the day she was born. Her first cry echoed louder than any gunfire he'd heard. He held her in trembling arms and whispered, "I'll never leave you." And yet, life had its own plans. Deployments came. Letters replaced hugs. He missed birthdays, school plays, even her first heartbreak. But he promised he would be there for her wedding. Promise was sacred. The day her wedding invitation arrived. The week before the wedding, Daniel's heart felt lighter than it had in years. He had already folded away his uniform. In his bag was not camouflage, but a suit, a tie his daughter Emily had chosen for him. For once, he was preparing to be a father, not a soldier. At the base gate, transport trucks waited, bound for home. But before he could board, a voice stopped him cold. "Collins!" Colonel Harris, his commanding officer, walked toward him. A weathered man, his face lined by decades of war. He held out a red-sealed file. "Major, we need you. Operation Raven Edge. Deployment. Wedding day." Daniel's chest tightened. His hand went to his pocket, where Emily's wedding invitation sat. The paper crumpled under his grip. "Sir," his voice cracked, breaking in a way no battle ever had. "My daughter's wedding." The colonel's eyes softened. "I know, Daniel. I know what this means, but if you don't lead this mission, men will die. Sometimes being a soldier means breaking as a father." The words cut deeper than shrapnel. Daniel stood at a crossroads. The promise to his daughter, or the oath to his country. And with the weight of the world on his shoulders, he chose duty. He couldn't say it. He couldn't break her heart before her big day. Instead, under the flicker of a bunker lamp, he recorded a message. "Emily, if I'm not there to walk you down the aisle, know that every step you take, I'll be beside you, in spirit, in silence, in sacrifice." He pressed send, closed his eyes, zipped his duffel bag. Minutes later, he was on the helicopter. Rotors thundered above. Snow lashed against his face. With every rise into the night sky, he felt himself leaving the one place he belonged most: home. As she stood in her wedding dress, her hands trembled with both joy and emptiness. She kept glancing at the door, but it never opened. At the same time, thousands of miles away, Daniel led his unit through enemy territory. Snow fell like ash. Gunfire rang like broken violin. And in the chaos, he whispered her name, Emily. Inside his vest pocket, wrapped in sweat and frost, were 3 folded letters. One for Emily, one for her husband, and one for the child she might one day have. He didn't know if he'd make it home, but his words, they would. Because sometimes a father's love lives longer than his breath. The mission twisted into chaos, ambush, smoke, screams. A young medic, barely 19, was hit. Blood spread across the snow. Daniel broke cover. Bullets snapped past. Explosions shattered walls. He lifted the boy onto his shoulder. Each step felt like carrying every missed birthday, every bedtime story he never told, every memory stolen by war. He couldn't give his daughter a dance, but he could give this boy a chance. That was enough. Back home, the wedding music began. Guests rose, but one chair remained empty. The father's seat. Beside it, a candle flickered, a small flame for the man who gave his daughter everything except presence. Emily walked alone, but in her steps was steel, her father's strength, her father's resilience. When the smoke cleared, the cost was heavy, but the mission was won. 4 hostages rescued, 3 wounded soldiers alive, and 1 father still breathing. The helicopter lifted them into the night sky. Snow and ash swirled below. The battlefield was over, but Daniel's greatest battle still raged inside his heart. No medals, no applause, no parade, just a driveway. And a door slowly opening. Emily stood there. Her wedding ring glimmered in the porch light. Tears ran down her face. For a moment, time froze. Then, father and daughter embraced. That hug, trembling, silent, endless, healed wounds no surgeon ever could. That night, under backyard fairy lights, Emily pressed play on a speaker. Music drifted through the air. She extended her hand. And there, with no guests, no cameras, no aisles, they danced. Every step, every spin, every tear. A memory reclaimed. A promise delayed, but not broken. Later, beneath the stars, Daniel wrote one last letter. To my grandchild, if you're reading this, know I missed your mother's wedding not because I didn't love her, but because I loved her enough to serve a world where you could grow safe, dance with your parents, cherish their presence. And if you ever wonder who I was the soldier who missed a wedding, so someone else's father would not have to. To every soldier who missed a birthday, a wedding, or a hug, your sacrifice does not go unnoticed. You serve not just a country, but generations. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Unseen Strength, where the stories that deserve to be heard finally are.